You've heard the phrase, "don't reinvent the wheel," meaning sometimes it's better to improve upon what we already have than create something totally original. Well, evidently Elon Musk has never heard such a thing because the Tesla Model 3 completely reinvents the automobile as we know it. Today we take a look at the Tesla Model 3 to see what this automotive renaissance is all about. A special thanks to Minnie of Madison for letting me film with this Tesla Model 3. The Tesla Model 3 is unlike any other vehicle on the road. Well, except for its SUV sibling, the Model Y. Tesla went to great lengths to rid the interior of any buttons and physical controls. The result? A massive 15-inch touchscreen dominating the center of the dash. This mega iPad is the brain of the Model 3 and is how the driver interacts with the car. The screen is how you do things like adjust the headlights, turn on the wipers, open the glove box, set the cruise control, set the climate, listen to the radio, check your range, and much more. So if you're someone who is a little overwhelmed by your iPhone, the Tesla Model 3 really isn't the car for you. Now I said that Tesla went to great lengths to rid the interior of any physical controls, which is true, but they weren't able to go all the way to making everything happen on the touchscreen. You still signal a change in direction with a stalk behind the left side of the steering wheel, and you actually change direction with a stalk behind the right side of the steering wheel. The windows are controlled by normal looking switches and the hazards are turned on by a button on the ceiling. Lastly, two scroll wheels on the steering wheel change in function based on what the giant screen is displaying. For example, if you're setting the cruise control, the right scroll wheel can be used to select the speed. If you've seen some of my other videos, you'll know I'm not a huge fan of touchscreens in cars. I find that they're distracting and don't give the same reassurance that you've accomplished what you've wanted to do as physical buttons do while driving. But since driving the Model 3, I've come to realize that I have that opinion about cars mainly because most automotive operating systems are pretty bad. They're not intuitive, meaning the driver needs every type of aid to operate them as possible. This is not the case in the Model 3. The OS in the Tesla is clear and impressively simple for the amount of things it has to do. It is truly the only car on the road where I'm okay that there is no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Normally, CarPlay and Android Auto are required to just make the interface acceptable, but in the Model 3, everything is wonderful. And I haven't even mentioned all of the Easter eggs and oddities Tesla has thrown into the screen. You can set whoopee cushions to go off, you can turn the map into Mars, and while stationary you can do things like watch Netflix, race using the actual steering wheel, surf the internet, play chess, or sit by the fire. There are so many fun things to do and more are constantly being added because the Model 3 gets over-the-air updates from Tesla. Not only do these updates give the car more fun features, but some of them even make the car go faster or give it more range. Wild stuff. So while the screen on the Model 3 could have been an absolute disaster in so many ways, Tesla has managed to pull it off. Well done. Moving past the screen and the front of the car, I, at 6'1", can comfortably sit behind myself in the back seat. I do wish there was a bit more thigh support, but I will admit that the rear window that turns into the rear sunroof is pretty cool. The opening to the trunk is pretty small, but the trunk itself is a good size. There's a false floor that reveals enough space to fit a carry-on suitcase, and around front there's a decent-sized frunk. Styling is obviously subjective, but if you don't like the look of this car, do know that a slightly revised Model 3 is coming with sharper wheel designs and black trim where you see chrome here. Now when driving the Model 3, a couple things stood out to me. First off, the seats are super comfortable. They don't have some crazy adjustment, but they're just old school plush comfortable. The same cannot be said, however, about the suspension. Now this Model 3 did have 25,000 miles on it, and the roads that I drove it on were truly terrible. But there were more than a few instances when sharp impacts sent violent shocks through the cabin. Electric cars are heavy with all their batteries, and the Model 3 seems to struggle somewhat with its weight. Even though it's heavy, the Model 3 is still very quick. The instant torque from the electric motors rocket this car off the line. It's a very different sensation to driving an internal combustion engine car. And that's the Tesla Model 3. It's the automobile reinvented, and in a very good way. I strongly believe that the first car I buy because I truly want one, not just because I can afford one, will be a Model 3. Its electricness is kind to the polar bears, and it is so far ahead of the entire industry in so many ways that I'll never be able to forget it. Thanks for watching, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.